Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into a tale of beer and the apocalypse. The man thought he must have bumped his head to believe this. Then this wise guy informed him that the government was secretly building 4 gigantic spaceships. Now, these guys planned to ditch the public and save themselves. The man thought he was listening to nonsense until the disaster hit, and this wise guy had the map to the Ark in his hand. To ensure his family's safety, he got the map, ran to find the crazy guy during refueling, but the car was empty. He had to drive all over town looking for him, finally spotting the wise guy on a mountain top, broadcasting my prophecies, and the man hurriedly asked where the map was. The guy didn't hide it, generously telling him that the map was on a bookshelf in the RV. Just as he pointed it out, a massive rumble echoed, and when they turned around, the mountains were shaking. The Yellowstone supervolcano, which had been snoozing for hundreds of thousands of years, was finally waking up, and the man was left speechless. He and his daughter had to bolt, and soon the supervolcano erupted with the force rivaling atomic bombs. The entire forest was battered by the shockwave, and countless volcanic rocks were raining down like confetti. Luckily, the man's driving skills were on point, dodging wave after wave of danger, but just as they neared the plane, the runway gave way beneath them. Seeing that, the man floored the gas pedal, soaring over the chasm, and once he handed his daughter to his ex-wife, he jumped in the car to find the map. Thankfully, Lady Luck smiled upon her, as she quickly found the map, but as she was heading back, the runway crumbled, sending her and the RV plummeting into the hot lava below. The man could only helplessly lead the mother and daughter to safety, when suddenly, a hand frantically reached out from the crack. It was him. She grabbed the ground in a last-ditch effort, scrambled up, and bolted like lightning to the plane, just grabbing her ex-wife's hand in time, but the crisis wasn't over. They were still in the erupting volcano's vicinity, rocks raining down, the plane instantly engulfed in smoke, but she miraculously escaped in a blink. The man checked the map, realizing they needed to head to China, but they'd have to find a bigger plane. The world had become a total disaster zone. Few airports were operational, and they couldn't get one as regular folks. Luckily, the man's boss was there, and the little girl recommended a glasses-wearing guy. Eager to get his family aboard, the man agreed, saying he flew well, and they took off. The plane was massive. It turned out this plane was for transporting troops, and soon the 2 pilots arrived in the cockpit. But for the guy who had only taken a few lessons, this was thick smoke rolled in like a scene straight out of an epic war movie, flames and chaos everywhere. You could almost hear the soundtrack. This scene was truly spine-chilling, and an unavoidable crisis was lurking just around the corner. To make matters worse, the earthquake ruined the runway, leaving hardly enough length for takeoff. Sure enough, the next second, the plane plunged. Oh no. The pilot handed controls to the glasses guy to restart the engine, but this plane was enormous. The glasses guy nearly hit skyscrapers, but thankfully the pilot fixed the power issue timely, and regained control. The plane was about to crash, so they quickly pushed the throttle down and pulled up hard, finally taking off together. But just after celebrating, a tower loomed in front of them like a giant game over sign. The plane scraped past the tower with no major damage. Now they are off to China, while disaster brews in the US. The president decided to stay and tell the truth. They couldn't board but had a right to know, so he gave his spot to a young scientist. Because they were humanity's future, he went on TV to announce the truth about the apocalypse and then went down with the White House. Meanwhile, the others walked, and the man asked about the ticket price, stunned to hear it was €1 billion. With ticket prices that outrageous, forget about regular folks, even the rich would be cringing at that. Only the super rich could afford that. Then they planned to fuel up in Hawaii, but when they arrived in Hawaii, they found a desolate fire pit, with fuel insufficient for the South China Sea. Just when they were closing in, they were dumbfounded to find the ocean had become solid ground. Thanks to all those earthquakes, the entire crust had shifted an astonishing 2,500 kilometers. Even the poles had moved. With no plane left, they had to make an emergency landing there, praying that some snow would cushion their crash, and everyone hurriedly donned life jackets and jumped into the doors opened, and they had to drive out as the plane touched down. The pilot told the glasses guy to hop in while he stayed to manage the aircraft. He ensured safe landing, but the car wouldn't start after the glasses guy got in. At last, the car roared to life, and the man hit the gas, speeding out. Thanks to the powerful shock absorbers, they landed smooth, but the pilot in the plane had a rough time. He had managed to stop the aircraft, but the ice was too fragile, sending him and the plane plummeting down. The scene left everyone heartbroken. He sacrificed himself to save them, and just then, several helicopters showed up to transport animals to the glasses guy hurriedly flagged them down, but aboard, they needed tickets to Noah's Ark, and only the boss and his 2 sons had any left. The girlfriend hadn't thought to grab a ticket, leaving her to apologize, saying tickets were just too expensive, leaving the rest to hoof it on foot. Fortunately, they encountered a passing car. The man hurriedly sought help, and the elderly driver noticed them in time. The old man told his grandson to stop, and they successfully caught a ride. The old man had another grandson who worked on the Ark. Though ticulous, he knew a secret way in. He hadn't wanted foreigners, but things had escalated. But the clever ex-wife pleaded with the old man, knowing he'd relate as a fellow parent, and ultimately, under duress, the grandson had to. Meanwhile, over on the other side, Eli couldn't get on the boat yet because he wasn't the only one with a ticket. They had to board one by one. However, a massive tsunami was approaching, having just swept through the Himalayas and was now aiming for no half an iota impact. Time was crucial. Unable to board everyone, the crew shut the doors. The Ark could only take off this way. Eli realized he might be left behind, dashed his security. Everyone followed, and suddenly the deck was chaotic.